This is TWiT.
Panos Panay.
Terrible. Yeah.
The pseudo-sincerity is grating on me.
Rating. Yeah.
It's always, and his brow
We'll never know what the
furrowed.
percentages are. Some people just think he's the most sincere, believable, heartfelt person, and others are like, oh my God, what's happening here?
Wow.
I find him, I don't know.
But I like Bastiche.
I do too. Love him.
Stevie Batiche.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm saying his name wrong, but I thought he was great.
Stevie. We call him Stevie.
Stevie.
Long hair. At first I thought, is this Russell Brand? Oh no, it's Howard Stern.
They should have had that Craig Federighi moment where he was like blow drying his hair in slow motion.
They missed some opportunities. It was fully pre-recorded. There was no live audience. It was just, here's a video, watch this. Which it's rumored that's what Apple's going to do with its next thing, is not even bother. They're going to mail it in.
Why bother?
Why bother? Okay, the things that stood out in my mind that I was very impressed with, actually. One, and this came from The Verge. Tom Warren wrote in The Verge, he had used the new Surface Pro 9 with the ARM chip, the so-called Microsoft chip. And he said, you know what? You wouldn't know it's ARM. It's actually... Yeah, okay. I'll ask you about that. But it tempted me. I was very impressed. I think that Pixel Perfect screen is great. I mean, I loved it on the Surface Studio.
Yep. $4,500.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the studio. I'm not going to buy another studio. Well, the studio, but even on the Surface Pro, it really looks beautiful.
Okay.
Very responsive to the pen. Very impressed. It's got 5G now, which you and I had talked about, Paul. Like, why don't they put 5G? And I had concluded, well, because everybody's got a phone and they can hotspot. So, but they put 5G in. I think there are people who will be very happy about that. I was very impressed with the camera and the noise reduction because they have now this is, I think, the Intel version. They have a neural processing unit in there. Is that the Intel only or is ARM got that?
No, that's
also?
the ARM version.
It's the ARM version.
Yep.
So I'll just say, reviewing laptops, that those capabilities, background noise, AI background noise reduction.
They had a guy with a leaf blower, and you couldn't hear it.
Yeah, how real was that though?
Well, I'm counting on you to give us the.
I don't know yet, so we'll see.
Lowdown.
But I wouldn't buy a computer because of that, personally. And that ARM thing, I'm sorry, but ARM is not quite there yet.
What do they call it? The SQ2? What is it? The
SQ3 is the new one, and it's based on the latest Qualcomm thing, which
it's basically a Qualcomm
absolutely,
chip, right?
It's absolutely better than it's been. Yeah, is still not as good as Intel or AMD.
And then,
may I say something about ARM here,
please?
So, did you notice during the event they've stopped talking about ARM as being advantageous in terms of battery life, power?
Right.
It did quote 19 hours battery life, though,
which is just a pure lie. Pure lie. 8 at most. 8 at most.
Okay.
You will see.
I will say, in the Intel world, if you see big battery life like that, you can have it or maybe even third it, and that's closer to real world. That's video rundown nonsense.
Same with ARM.
No, that's what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah. But the thing they're talking about more and more with ARM is they keep talking about AI. So I wonder if they're going to start pushing the reason that you would want an ARM PC as you can do more with AI and stop talking about battery life and power because those things aren't really advantageous on Windows on ARM.
So the ARM chip has the NPU. That's the SQ3 part. That's the Microsoft part, not the Intel chip. See, again, I'm very tempted. The Surface Pro 9 with ARM. Okay.
There is absolutely no reason that the Intel version of this couldn't have a 5G chipset in it. It doesn't. And it's like this bogus
neural
differentiator.
Though?
Can it have an MPU?
What about it? I mean,
and then the other thing I was really thought was very interesting is they're adding dall-e to artificial intelligence art generation to Designer, which you still have to.
What does that have to do with Surface, though?
Okay, well, it's just there and Bing. Okay,
I mean, it's great,
nothing to do with Surface, but okay, that's pretty cool.
No, let's talk about the hardware first.
Okay, hardware first.
Yeah, let's get the hardware out of the way because each one of these things has a problem.
Okay,
they all have the same problem, which is that they're the same exact design as before.
The carpeted Surface Laptop 5.
Yep, they're exactly the same.
Green.
Windows or Surface Pro 9 was designed for Windows 11. Was it? Because it's the same design as last time, and that time It was designed for Windows 10.
They did say that everybody wants 22H2. That's what they're hearing.
Okay.
Everybody wants it.
We can talk about that in a little while. Actually, we will.
Let's talk hardware. Let's talk about hardware. All right.
But that's fair. That's
Surface Studio 2 Plus,
Surface,
which we saw in the FCC picture, is exactly like
11th gen Intel chips, not latest gen. Are you kidding?
Quad core.
Are you kidding? Quad core.
Quad core.
Are you kidding me? How many cores does an H series 12th gen chipset have now?
16. This
something like that.
The quad core is like what's in my Synology.
Yeah, this is like, hey, I'm still using a car with a carburetor in it. Like, what are you kidding me?
You want to tune up?
It's 2022.
At least it has a terabyte hard drive, 32 gigs of RAM. I mean, at least it has that, right? I presume it has an SSD because the old one had a spinning drive. We had to replace that.
I remember Padre replaced it with an SSD. Yeah. So Surface Laptop 5, they dropped AMD.
Yeah, no AMD.
It didn't say why.
Didn't even mention it.
Why, right?
AM who?
What? Oh, and here's the other thing. So, Surface Laptop 5, Intel chipset, doesn't support Bluetooth.
What?
The Microsoft security chipset. Do you want to know why?
Why?
Because Intel doesn't support it. Intel thinks that chipset is superfluous. They already have enough technology in their chipsets to do security. They don't need Bluetooth. AMD, by the way, embraced it fully.
That's hysterical.
Would have had that in there. Yeah.
This is a Microsoft technology, right, Pluton?
Yep. Yeah. Microsoft product, and it doesn't have it because Intel will not support it. That's why.
It's got the Evo chip, though. I heard them say Evo a few times.
Well, Evo's just Evo's not a chip. Evo is
a marketing term.
Is a marketing qualification. It's
Okay. I wasn't going to get the laptop. Mary Jo, though, that's what you use, right? As a Surface. You like your Surface laptop.
Surface Laptop 3. Yeah. No, I'm not liking it anymore. It's having a lot of problems. Okay. And so, no, I would never get another Surface laptop.
And that's the one we got for Micah, this Alcantara, the blue.
Yeah.
Ebis.
Right. By the way, I like Surface hardware. I don't want to lose sight of that. I recognize that people have had issues with them over the years. I've certainly had some issues. But I like the, Surface Laptop 5 is a laptop, but it's a nice laptop. It's a nice looking laptop. Surface Pro 9, Surface Pro whatever is kind of the canonical, tablet PC for the modern era for sure. It's
now with
fine.
GoodNotes,
I just
by
don't
the way,
think
which is very exciting to me.
I don't think most people need a tablet. So
no, that 2-in-1 form factor, I'm wondering. They talk so much about how great the keyboard is on the laptop.
Well, they keep...
And it's like, you get a Pro and Surface, and now you'll have a...
Yeah, if you go back and watch that part of the presentation, they acted like this thing had come out brand new. It was like, we never had one of these before. There's nothing new. There's nothing new.
It's completely not exactly a redesign in any respect.
No, which is fine. It's a fine design. The move from 12.5 or 12.3, I guess it was, to 13 inch is great. Bigger screen, everything. It's great. If you do need a pen or want a pen, it works great. I don't mind the keyboard cover thing. I know people talk about how bouncy it is. It's fine.
I love the pen hiding in the keyboard. I almost bought a Surface Pro X just for that. I like that.
Yep. Yeah. Surface Pro 8 had that as well, by the way. It's nice.
I like it.
But again, it's just more of the same. Like, this is just more of the same.
So talk me off the shelf. I was thinking of getting a Surface Pro 9 with the SQ3.
No, do not get anything ARM-based in Windows ever. No.
I'd have to use Windows on ARM, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. So my next hardware review is an HP Elite Dragonfly, which is unbelievable. It is the best typing experience I've ever had on a laptop.
Beautiful.
Ever.
Beautiful.
It's unbelievable. But the one after that is the ThinkPad, what's it called? The X13? No, what's it called? It's the ARM one. So this is the one that is closest to what you're seeing in Surface today from a processing and compatibility perspective. And it is absolutely better. But remember, 3 years ago, 4 years ago even, Qualcomm was talking about how they were offering Core i5 levels of performance.
Desktop class,
What generation Core i5 are we talking about? Second? Because it's nowhere even close.
Right.
It can get close, but the problem is, it depends on what apps you use. So if you use lots of Intel apps, you're going to have a problem. It's still not great.
Because those run in emulation.
And it's just not great.
Okay,
so
never mind.
I've been using x64 and in some cases x86 versions of Intel apps just to kind of see how that works. This will be in my review, but it's just not there. It just isn't there.
Yeah.
It depends. If you're all Office and you use Edge and that's kind of your whole experience, okay, you'll probably be okay. But it's the same basic issue with ARM remains. But why would you use it?
There's no reason for ARM right now. Until there's better ARM chips for PCs, there's no reason. There's no advantage, right? At all.
The reason ARM exists in the Windows world is because Microsoft begged Intel for years and years and years.
Yep.
Stop raising the performance and make something that makes sense on thin and light devices where you don't have to have a fan.
And
they never came through with anything decent in that.
Right.
They couldn't. They wouldn't listen.
Right.
There's a great story from yesterday's MacBreak Weekly. Apple all of a sudden dropped notebook, and they call it laptops again, which Microsoft has always done.
I saw that. Yeah.
And so Jason O'Grady from the O'Grady Power Page, which is a ancient but still a viable Mac blog, said that's because the lawyers said you can't call it a laptop because the Intel chip is so damn hot, it's burning people, so we need to call it a notebook.
Oh, I have a theory about why they changed from notebook to laptop.
But the reason they changed from laptop to notebook
back in the day,
is because that was when they were Intel laptops for Macintosh, and the Apple lawyers said
that's an awfully cynical.
Jason O'Grady said, "I have it on." He says, "I heard it on very good authority." So
I thought when I read that.
No, don't you think the real reason would be more they didn't want to be compared number-wise to laptops?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
and that's why
it's a notebook. Yeah, but didn't PC makers adopt notebook as well, or no? Has it always been a laptop?
We have all different terms for things.
We do.
I remember having to retrain myself to call it a notebook. I do remember that. Yeah. That was a decade ago, probably. Yeah.
There are portable PCs, there are convertibles, there are notebooks, there are laptops, there are tablets, there are 2-in-ones.
Yeah.
Netbooks.
Yep. Netbooks. Don't.
They all. Most of them mean the same thing.
So
I believe.
I'm thinking. Okay, you talked me out of the Surface Pro 9.
No. But
wait
let's
another
go.
year.
Hold on. So I watched this presentation. And I'm thinking to myself, what is the point of this product line? Like what literally. What is the point?
That is a good point.
And interestingly, Penne he had an interview with Axios. The Axios article they produced was not an interview. It just quoted him occasionally. It's kind of a strange thing. Yeah. But he came up with like 3 reasons why this product line exists. Like what role does it play? And I'm paraphrasing this, but basically these are crazy. To fill the gap between the Windows software and the PC hardware. Like, what to fill the gap? What are you talking about? To inspire other PC makers, which is something we've talked about in the past, and to create high-end devices that compete well with the Mac. And my contention here, my question here is, does it do any of that? First of all, whatever the gap is between software and hardware, there is almost nothing in a Surface device that isn't in any other PC. It's not like Microsoft is making Pixel and they're like, we're only going to have certain features on Surface. We're not giving them to everyone else. That would be suicide. They don't do that. So you just have
the OEMs would rebel. They would be very upset.
Right. You might like the design of a Surface. You're rolling the dice, I think, on reliability, but that's your choice. Inspiring other PC makers, I would have, aside from the initial Surface Pro device, I would say they have inspired them not to do what Microsoft is doing. It's the only thing they've inspired them. There's no one is copying their other devices. There's nothing.
There were a few
you don't
at the beginning, right?
No, for Pro. Yeah, for Pro, for sure. That's it.
No, didn't Dell do something that was like a Surface Book? Am I misremembering that? Or somebody did.
I guess the point is no other Surface, no form factor they've made has ever turned into something other than Pro, the tablet. And then, creating high-end devices that compete with the Mac. I'm sorry, have we never heard of ThinkPad X1? Have we never heard of EliteBook? Have we never heard of Spectre? Have we never heard of Dragonfly? Have we never heard of XPS 13? What are you talking about? So I guess I don't think they fulfill any of those goals. Yeah.
What's very weird that I've been noticing a lot, because we have a lot of people at ZDNet who really love Surface. And I kept saying to them, what do you like about it, right? And without an exception, they were all Apple users who liked it.
Right.
And so I'm like, there's something in a Surface that's very like familiar to Mac users, or they like that, like the way it's being constructed or the pitch for it. I don't know. There's something I think they are hitting that spot of like, we're going after the Mac users and we're getting there, right?
Are they? Because Mac market share is at an all-time high. So I feel like that's, but their goal with that is, I see why they're doing that. And people who are real PC users like me, I don't think like Surfaces as much as Mac Surface
users.
has never appeared on any market share chart made by any company ever in history. Not once. They don't register. They don't sell enough of these things. They almost don't exist.
I should point out that that's true also of Google Pixel phones, that they are a laggard.
Yes. That's exactly right. That's exactly it. Yeah, exactly.
So why does Google make the Pixel? Same reason?
Because they see some value in first-party hardware. They want to show what's possible when you do the full Google or Microsoft thing. But the difference between Android and Windows, honestly, is that most PC makers are already doing the full Windows thing. I mean, you see crapware, which is just a terrible byproduct of how bad that market is. But on Android, the biggest OEMs change the UI. They have their own services. They have their own apps. It's like their own thing. Like, you don't see HP making a word processor or I'm trying to think or an email app or something like that. It's really not the same situation. I don't know that Surface fulfills the need. And honestly, you got to remember, what was the original point of this thing? It was none of those things he said. It was, we think the world is going touch. Apple is killing us. We have super Apple envy. iPhone is everything. They just released the iPad. We need to answer that. And they came up with Surface Pro.
It still looks like that. That Surface laptop is a dead ringer for the MacBook Air. I mean, it's a dead ringer.
But if Surface Pro if Surface had been successful as a product line the way they intended, the thing that would have been successful would have been that RT version, the one that was most like an iPad. That was what they thought was going to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
They made a ton of them, and it took a huge write-down.
I still have
mine.
They
had no idea what they were doing.
Yeah.
Don't you think they think the Surface Go now is the iPad competitor, right?
Is it though?
That's
I
not.
mean,
no,
but
I
is
don't
it
think
really?
it is, but I think that's what they think.
Yeah.
I think that's what they think.
So it's just Apple envy? I mean, is that why they're doing ARM too?
Heavily Apple envy. No, they're
doing ARM because of the Intel problem.
Yeah.
They've been doing long ARM. Do you guys remember that? Long ARM. It's like that's 10 years ago when they were trying to do Windows on ARM.
Well, Microsoft has decades of experience with mobile devices. They saw ARM as it evolved from the 90s to the 2000s, et cetera. And, in the beginning, one of the big issues was just performance and compute capability. That's obviously been solved. But the one thing those devices always had was these things were designed from the get-go to be instant on mobile, really long battery life, often days or weeks, compared to a PC, a completely different kind of device. And they want that for PCs. They want that level of uptime. They want that level of reliability. They want that instant on capability. And so that, they kind of retrofit it to Intel computers, and it works sometimes, but Intel has never answered this call. Intel, I think, finally saw the writing on the wall, hired Pat Gelsinger. They're doing this hybrid chipset approach, right? And the first version is kind of mets, but they're getting there. And I think the ultimate goal, I think where we're going to stand at the end is Intel will look a lot more like ARM than it does, to its original stuff.
I think that's true, actually. Yeah.
And we'll see which one wins out. But like Mary Jo said, the more you add these capabilities and performance and blah, blah, blah to ARM, the more it starts to look like Intel. And in the end, it's like, so we have these things. Maybe let's pretend they perform the same. Battery life is the same. Compatibility is like, it's not quite there on ARM. A couple little issues. Why would I buy the thing that's not quite there? Why not just buy the thing that always works?
Yeah.
I don't know.
If you are looking for a midweek update on the week's tech news, I got to tell you, you got to check out Tech News Weekly. See, it's all kind of built in there with the title. You get to learn about the news in tech that matters. Every Thursday, Jason Howell and I talk to the people making and breaking the tech news, get their insights and their interesting stories. It's a great show to check out, twit.tv/TNW.